At 2 in the morning last night, somewhere in your city, 3 different people were making money in their sleep. A college student was wheeling trash bags down an apartment hallway for a business owner who was home in bed. A camera in a parking lot was quietly mailing someone a fine. And a valve you've never heard of, buried next to a water meter, was in the middle of earning somebody their most reliable paycheck of the year. 15 businesses like that. I verified every single number on this list, and I'm going to be honest with you the entire way through, including which ones cost too much and which ones only work in certain states, because most videos like this conveniently skip that part. 2 things to hold on to. Number 3 on this list gets paid twice for the same garbage. And number 1, you could genuinely start with a phone call this month. Let's go. Business 15, commercial backflow testing. Every restaurant, every hospital, every office building with a sprinkler system has a valve buried near the water meter that stops dirty water from siphoning backward into the drinking supply. And here's the sentence that makes this a business instead of a chore. By law, in nearly every state, that valve has to be tested once a year by a certified tester, or the water utility can legally shut the whole property off, not fine them, shut them off. The test itself takes under an hour. You charge somewhere between $75 and $400 per device, and a mid-sized commercial building might have 3 or 4 devices sitting on site. The certification to do this costs a few $100s and takes days, not years. Now think about what you're actually selling here, because it's not a plumbing service. You're selling the only thing standing between a property owner and the water company turning their building off. Nobody haggles with the person holding that switch. And by the way, you've eaten at a restaurant that legally cannot stay open without someone like this showing up on schedule. And you've never once thought about who that person is. That invisibility, that's not a weakness of this business, that's the entire moat. Business 14, commercial kitchen hood cleaning. There's a fire code called NFPA 96, and it says that any commercial kitchen running a fryer or a grill has to have its exhaust hood professionally cleaned every 1 to 6 months, depending on how much grease it's pushing through the vents. Skip it! And here's the part that makes restaurant owners suddenly very cooperative. If a fire starts and the hood wasn't cleaned on schedule, the insurance company can flat out refuse to pay the claim. The entire building could burn and the check never comes. A single cleaning runs $400 to $600. Operators in this space report gross margins between 50 and 65% because the real cost is just labor and degreaser. Now do the quiet math with me. A 2-person crew, 40 restaurants, each one on a quarterly contract. That's 160 cleanings a year that nobody has to sell because the fire code sells them for you. Every other business owner on the planet wakes up wondering where their next customer is coming from. This one wakes up knowing the customer is legally required to call. Somewhere right now, a restaurant owner who has never once thought about his exhaust hood is about to get a very persuasive phone call from an insurance adjuster, and whoever's card is on his fridge that day wins a customer for life. Business 13. Commercial ice machine leasing. Here's a question you've never asked in your life. Who owns the ice machine at your favorite bar? Because I'll tell you who doesn't, the bar. Restaurants, bars, and hotels have mostly stopped buying ice machines, and the reason is beautifully simple. When an ice machine dies, it dies at 11 o'clock on a Friday night in the middle of the rush. Never on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. So instead of owning that nightmare, they lease it. Leasing companies charge $75 to $500 a month per unit, all-inclusive year, service calls, repairs, biannual maintenance, everything. And here's what I want you to understand about what's really being sold. It's not a machine. It's the guarantee that when the thing breaks, it is officially somebody else's emergency. You've paid for this exact feeling before, by the way. The moment you bought the extended warranty you swore you'd never use, and then 6 months later you actually needed it. And it felt like winning the lottery. That feeling bottled and billed monthly forever to businesses that cannot function without ice. Nobody ever calls to negotiate the price down because the alternative is being the manager explaining to a packed Friday night bar why the drinks are warm. Business 12, commercial elevator maintenance. I'll be straight with you on this one right away. This is not a weekend side hustle. It takes real licensing and real training, and in most places you'll work under a certified program for a while before you're signing your own contracts. So why is it on the list? Because of what's waiting on the other side of that barrier. A small building's annual maintenance contract runs $3,500 to $5,000 a year. A commercial high-rise can run $12,000 to $20,000 a month. And every single state requires elevators to be inspected on a schedule by law. Massachusetts will fine a building $100 a day every single day for an elevator operating without its inspection. Think about what that means for the person holding the maintenance contract. Their renewal isn't a sales conversation, it's a legal deadline with the building manager's name on it, the barrier to entry that just made you scroll past this idea? That same barrier is why the people already inside have waiting lists instead of marketing budgets. The harder a door is to walk through, the fewer people are standing on the other side of it with you. Business 11, floor mat and uniform exchange routes. I want you to picture the least exciting business you can possibly imagine. Got it? Whatever you pictured, this is more boring than that, and it built a $9.6 billion company. Cintes, you've seen their logo on the entrance mat of basically every office and restaurant you've ever walked into. Runs a business where a driver shows up every 2 weeks, takes the dirty floor mats and work uniforms, and leaves clean ones. That's it. That's the whole business. The industry it sits inside is worth over $20 billion a year, and Cintes alone controls nearly a third of it. And here's the thing that should genuinely rewire how you think about business. Nobody at that company invented anything. There's no patent, no algorithm, no genius founder story they teach at Stanford. There's a truck, a route, and a contract that renews itself while everyone else chases the next big thing. You have wiped your feet on this business 1,000 times without ever wondering who owns it. Nobody builds a $9 billion company on excitement. They build it on driving the same route on the same Tuesday for 30 years straight. Business 10, medical equipment rental, wheelchairs, hospital beds, oxygen concentrators. When somebody gets discharged after surgery, they need a hospital bed at home for 6 weeks. And nobody wants to buy a $4,000 bed for 6 weeks of recovery, so they rent one for $200 to $800 a month. Now here's the detail that separates this from every other rental business on earth. And it's the reason it made the list. In many cases, Medicare pays 80% of that bill directly. Read that again. Your customer for most of the invoice is not a stressed out family juggling medical bills. It's the United States government's insurance system, which pays reliably on schedule without you chasing anyone. And the equipment itself? A hospital bed comes back, gets cleaned and inspected, and goes right back out to the next patient. The same bed can earn its purchase price back several times over across its life. Yes, there's licensing. You need to become an accredited medical equipment supplier, and that takes real paperwork. But you're building a business where the product gets rented repeatedly, and the biggest payer in the country has never once missed a payment. There are entire industries that would commit crimes for a customer like that. Business 9, self-serve dog wash stations. Let me give you the two numbers first because they're almost rude. A single wash costs the owner about $1.50 in water, electricity, and shampoo. The customer pays $15 to $25. That is not a good margin. That's the kind of margin you'd normally need a law degree or a drug cartel to see. And why do people happily pay it? Because you personally know exactly why. Anyone who has ever tried to wash a dog at home knows the scene. Soaked bathroom walls, a blocked drain full of fur, and a wet animal sprinting through the house like it's being chased by demons. $20 to make all of that someone else's plumbing problem is the easiest yes in retail. A 2-bay unit in a decent spot washes 15 to 30 dogs a day, which lands somewhere around $110,000 to $220,000 a year in revenue, if. And the machine handles the entire transaction alone 24 hours a day while you show up once a week to restock soap and collect what's yours. Somewhere right now, a golden retriever is single-handedly funding a stranger's mortgage payment and has absolutely no idea. Quick pause because we're about to cross into the heavier half of this list. Still ahead, the business that gets paid twice for the same garbage, the one where a phone company wires you money for 25 years for doing nothing, and the number one, the one you could genuinely start this month. If one of these has already surprised you, do me a favor and drop the number in the comments because I'm genuinely curious which of these people have walked past their entire lives without seeing. Okay, back to it. Business 8, reverse vending recycling kiosks. In certain states, there's a machine outside supermarkets that does the opposite of every other machine on this list. You feed it empty bottles and cans, and it gives you money back. That's a reverse vending machine, and the person who owns it earns $300 to over $1,000 a month per unit in a busy location through a mix of container deposit fees, advertising space on the machine's screen, and recycling partnerships. Now here's where I have to be honest with you because this is exactly the part other videos skip. This business only exists in states with a bottle deposit law on the books. If your state doesn't legally require a deposit on beverage containers, this entire model simply does not exist where you live, and no amount of hustle changes that. So before you fall in love with this one, spend 5 minutes checking your state's law. That's the entire filter. But if you're in one of the deposit states, you're operating a machine where the government created the demand, the supermarket provides the foot traffic, and the customer literally brings the inventory to you. There aren't many businesses where the customer does the restocking. Business 7, assisted living real estate. This one quietly separates people who understand real estate from people who just own some. Here's the model. You buy or convert a 5 or 6 bedroom home, get it licensed for senior care, and then this is the part everyone misses. You don't run it. You lease it to a licensed care operator who handles the residents, the staff, the day-to-day everything. You are not in the care business. You are the landlord of a building that a care business is legally required to operate inside of. The industry rule of thumb is that annual rent runs 8 to 12% of the property's value X. So a $500,000 home brings in $40,000 to $60,000 a year, roughly double or triple what that same house earns as a normal rental. And this scales. One real portfolio listing I found, 5 licensed homes, 30 beds, generates over $145,000 a month in revenue for its operation, and demand isn't going anywhere. The largest generation in American history is aging into needing exactly this, in exactly these kinds of homes, in exactly the neighborhoods you already live in. You're not betting on a trend, you're betting on a birthday. Business 6, AI parking enforcement cameras. A private parking lot used to need a guard booth, a ticket machine, and a guy named Dave who looked the other way when his friends parked there. Now it needs one camera. A license plate recognition system reads every car coming in, tracks exactly how long it stays, and when someone overstays the posted limit, the system automatically mails a fine, typically $50 to $100, straight to the vehicle's registered owner. No confrontation, no chasing anyone down, no Dave. Honest catch, and it's a real one, how enforceable those fines are varies significantly by state and country. In some places, private parking charges hold up firmly. In others, collecting them is genuinely difficult. So this is another one where you check your local rules before you spend $1, but where the legal framework supports it, one camera is silently doing the job 3 employees used to do, and it never takes a lunch break, never calls in sick, and has never once let a buddy slide, which, if we're honest, makes it more reliable than most of us. Business 5, EV fast charging hubs. I'm going to slow down here because this is the most expensive item on this list, and I refuse to pretend otherwise. A single DC fast charging port costs $90,000 to $200,000 fully installed. That is not a typo. And it puts this in a completely different league from everything else you've heard so far. So why is it here? Because of what happens after the check clears. A well-placed fast charger running at 50 to 60% utilization generates $3,000 to $5,000 a month, and federal tax credits can offset 30 to 90% of the installation cost in the right locations. Every car that plugs in is a customer who stands there for 20 to 30 minutes with nothing to do, which is exactly why gas stations and retail plazas are fighting to host these. Look, this one isn't for someone starting with a spare weekend and a credit card, and I won't insult you by pretending it is. This is for the person who already owns commercial property and is staring at an empty corner of their parking lot wondering what it could be doing. For that person, this might be the single most subsidized bet on this entire list. Business 4, solar panel cleaning contracts. Here's a number that solar farm owners think about constantly and nobody else has ever heard. Dust and pollen sitting on solar panels cuts their electricity output by 4 to 8%. On a big commercial installation, that's real money evaporating every single day the panels stay dirty, which means someone whose job is literally removing dust is protecting thousands of dollars of output per visit. Now, honesty time again, because there's a trap in this one. Building the actual cleaning robots, that's a manufacturing business, and it costs millions, so that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is operating the cleaning service. You lease or buy the robots and equipment, and you run scheduled cleaning contracts across commercial rooftops and small solar farms. Completely different business, far more accessible. And here's the part that should make you sit forward. Solar capacity in this country is growing faster than the maintenance industry serving it. The panels are multiplying. The people cleaning them are not. In most cities, the person who decides to become the solar cleaning company this year isn't entering a market, they're founding one. Business 3, grease trap pumping. And here it is, the one I promised you at the start, the business that gets paid twice for the same garbage. Every commercial kitchen has an underground trap that catches fats, oils, and grease before they hit the sewer line, and health codes require that trap pumped out every 1 to 3 months. So payment number 1, the restaurant pays you to come take their grease away. Standard service business, recurring by law, nothing fancy. But here's the twist that almost nobody outside this industry knows. That grease you just hauled off, it isn't waste anymore. It's a commodity. Biofuel producers buy it to turn into renewable diesel. One waste company documented recovering nearly 300 tons of used grease over 3 years and generating over $100,000 in rebates from it. Money earned on material they were already being paid to remove. Sit with that for a second. The restaurant pays you to take it. The biofuel company pays you to bring it. The same barrel of used fryer grease gets monetized on both ends of the truck ride. There are hedge funds that don't have economics this clean, and the whole thing smells like old French fries. Business 2. Cell tower and rooftop leasing. This is the purest version of everything this list has been building toward. If a building has a flat roof, decent height, and sits in a populated area, a carrier like Verizon or AT&T might pay its owner $1,000 to $6,000 a month, sometimes more in dense cities, just to bolt a small antenna array to the roof. The contracts typically run 10 to 25 years with built-in annual increases baked in from day one. Some mature multi-carrier sites pay their landlords over $10,000 a month. Now listen to what the owner's responsibilities are. Nothing. You don't install it, you don't maintain it, you don't insure the equipment. The carrier's engineers handle everything. You signed a document once, years ago, and a wire transfer has arrived every month since because a phone company's coverage map decided your roof was standing in the right place. Meanwhile, somewhere below that antenna, someone's cursing a dropped call in a parking lot, never realizing their monthly phone bill is quietly funding a stranger's retirement. This is the only business I know of where the entire job description is continue owning the roof. Business 1. Valet trash for apartment complexes, and we've arrived. The one I said you could start with a phone call this month, and I meant it literally. Here's the entire model. At apartment complexes, tenants leave their trash bags outside their doors at night. A part-time worker, usually a college student earning around $20 an hour for a 2-hour evening shift, wheels every bag to the dumpster. The property pays the service company $8 to $15 per unit per month, then charges its own residents $20 to $35 for it as an amenity. And everyone in the chain is happy. The tenant never walks to a dumpster in the rain again. The property pockets a margin on an amenity it doesn't operate, and you own the contract in the middle. And these aren't handshake deals. They're typically 3 to 5 year B2B contracts. One real listing I found, an owner-operator running this across roughly 1,400 units, generating $15,000 a month in revenue on established routes, with 2 long-term assignable contracts. No storefront, no inventory, no specialized license. The startup checklist is a phone call to a property manager, insurance, and 2 reliable college students. You are never the person carrying the bag. You're the person who signed the contract that decides whose job that is. And now the thread that ties all 15 of these together, because I promised you a pattern, and here it is. Not one of these businesses sells a product. Every single one sells a slot, a legally mandated inspection slot, a roof in the right location, 8 square feet of a supermarket sidewalk, a contract that renews on a schedule written by a fire code instead of a salesman. Ask this one question about any business idea you ever hear from this list or anywhere else. Does it get paid once, or does it get paid every month without you doing anything new to earn it? A trash bag picked up once is a favor. A trash bag picked up every Tuesday night for 5 years under contract is a business. A valve tested once is a job. A valve the law requires tested every year forever is an asset. That single question filters out 90% of the ideas people waste years chasing. Let me leave you with 2 people, because this is the part that actually matters. Picture both of them starting on the exact same ordinary Tuesday. The first one spends the next 2 years hunting for an idea nobody's ever had, burning savings on launches that compete against 1,000 equally ambitious people, chasing equally original ideas at the same time. The second one watches a video like this, picks the least glamorous thing on the list, calls a restaurant about their exhaust hood, gets told no 4 times, and signs his first contract on the 5th call. 5 years later, the first one is still searching for the idea. The second one has 30 recurring contracts and has honestly stopped tracking where new customers come from, because the fire code keeps sending them anyway. The difference between them was never intelligence, never luck, and never starting capital. One of them needed the idea to be special. The other one was fine with the idea being boring as long as the deposits weren't. Everything on this list is sitting in public records, industry reports, and business listings available to anyone who bothers to look. It was never hidden. It was just boring enough that almost nobody did. So here's what I want from you before you go. Tell me in the comments which of these 15 you had genuinely never heard of before today. I read every single one, and honestly, the answers helped me figure out which of these deserves its own full deep dive video next. And if this changed how you look at even one boring building in your city, you know what to do. I'll see you in the next one.